KBØTTL here. Just got something new in the mail. It is the Baofeng UV-36 PRO. And what led me to try this particular radio out was some new features that were advertised. Apparently, this Baofeng has receive on HF bands in SSB on both upper and lower sideband, as well as AM and FM on some extended frequencies here. And I'll go ahead and bring up the specs real quick here so you can have a look at them here just briefly. So on this particular radio, we have the on-off knob here that is to the right.
Channel mode.
And then underneath, what looks like the knob here on the top in the center, we have a little SMA connector where we could plug in our AM shortwave / ham antenna for reception. So we'll be giving that a try here in a little bit, as well as programming in some frequencies, some repeater frequencies. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's see how good this is at receiving just a little bit of HF here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put this over into HF mode by activating the radio function. And you can select in the menu between FM and SSB. So right now I have the menu pointing towards SSB. And there's AM frequency, sideband. Lower sideband. I'm going to go ahead and put in a frequency here on 40 meters. Alright, let's have a look here at the menu. We're going to go into ham mode. And let's try to change this to an upper sideband. Alright, so that must be for stored channels. So we'll go back. Let's select full band. Modulation, no. AM, FM. Alright, go into ham mode. SSB mode. Alright, so we're going to cut over here to an upper sideband. So this being an SSB capable radio, it's probably just a little bit of a learning curve here. And we have some activity here on 14.3. You can just barely hear them. Let's see if we can go down in the band a little bit. Alright, so we got halfway decent reception here on 20 meters as well. So we've tried a few HF bands here. While it's nowhere near what my Yaesu back here does, it's pretty good for a $50 radio. Pretty good for a receiver that's just one of the many features of a $50 radio. With this, I can't really complain. Alright, let's move on here. Okay, so right off the bat, one of the first things I made note of is that Baofeng has not yet released a dedicated CPS software for this radio. So I did have to improvise to get some local repeaters programmed into this radio. So what I'm using here right now is I'm using chirp, and I'm using the chirp setting for the UV-36 PRO GPS. And I was able to read and write to this radio using the UV-36 PRO GPS setting here in the latest download of Chirp. Now, needless to say, this probably isn't going to have nearly all of the programmable features for this radio, but while we're waiting for an official CPS for this radio, this does work temporarily to get some local frequencies programmed into your new UV-36 PRO. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just have a look here at a few of the channels here that we put in, and we'll see if we can't hit one of the local repeaters. This is KBØTTL.
60s. Northeast wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, sunny. Highs in the upper 80s. 14. 15.
KBØTTL. All right, so it looks like we could hit the local repeater here. There is just nobody active on it right now.
The time is 8 p.m.
All right, let's do our power test here, just to see what this radio puts out on high power. And right now I have this on VHF 2 meters, so we're going to test it. And we have 10.25 watts on high power on 2 meters. Okay, let's move to 220.
2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, 9, 8, 7.
All right, we're going to try this here on 220. And we'll just key it up. Not bad for 220, a full 6.5 watts on 220. Usually 220 is a third band on these radios, so not bad at all for 220. I was actually expecting more like 3 to 4 watts, but 6.5 watts is a welcome sight for this radio. Now let's go to 440.
6, 7, 8.
And we'll try this on 440. All right, 7.7 watts on 440. Again, not too bad. So I believe this does live up to its expectations power-wise. So no problems there. I'm actually quite surprised with this little Baofeng here so far. All right, let's move on here. Just to a few other tests. All right, so now we're going to use our nano spectrum analyzer to see where that second harmonic is at. We have our 40 dB attenuator hooked into the works here, and we're going to go ahead and key this up here first of all on 2 meters and see where that second harmonic is. All right, that's actually kind of disappointing here, as that second harmonic is sitting there just 10 dB below the principal. So not a clean signal on 2 meters. All right, let me get this reconfigured for 220, and we'll give it a try on 220. Okay, so on the nano spectrum analyzer, this isn't really made for 220 because the spectrum analyzer that I'm using here has 2 ranges. It goes from about low in the band up to about 350 megahertz. and then from 350 to about 999. So this isn't going to catch the second harmonic on the 220 band, but it will catch the principal, and then I'm going to have to switch to catch the second harmonic here. So we have to take 2 scans to get the principal and the second harmonic. So here's the principal. Comes up on here using the 40 dB attenuator to about a minus 45, yeah, right between the 40 and 50 mark there on the 1 marker. Okay, and we don't really see anything to either side of it on here, but that does not mean we don't have a nasty second harmonic. So let's go ahead and change the range here on our analyzer, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so we have our nano spectrum analyzer here configured to the second range, which goes between 240 megahertz and 959 megahertz. So this is not going to catch the primary or principal frequency. This is going to catch the harmonics that come after. This may not be a pretty picture here. And no. We have that second harmonic, a minus 30 dB. So we actually have a second harmonic that is higher in principal than that principal frequency. So there's a lot of spurious emissions that take place higher up in the bands on 220 here. So this is not going to be a suitable radio for use on 220. You're going to be all over the place if you use this radio on 220 here, unfortunately. So for 220, this radio is definitely a fail. All right, let's move on here. All right, here goes nothing. We're trying this on the 440 band here now. Let's see here, division 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we actually have the second harmonic on here. A good 40 dB, it looks like, below the principal. So this is actually passing for Part 97 testing purposes on the 440 band. And of course, we have multiple artifacts and spurious emissions that are also below that 40 dB contour, but our second harmonic is actually almost right at 40 dB below the principal. So this is actually considered clean enough use for Part 97 applications. So there was the spectral purity test for this particular radio. Not that great on 2 meters, passable on 440, but there you go. All right, so what do I think about it? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think about it here. It has its pluses and minuses. If you just want to get on 2 meter 440 repeaters and talk around town, yeah, this radio will do it. As you can see, I do not recommend using this radio on 220 for any reason, because you're simply going to be talking all over the place, and who knows who will hear you. Now, the HF reception on this isn't half bad for a little $50 radio. At the end of the day, this could use some tweaking, as all new Baofengs do when they first come out. I've seen some Baofengs hit the market that have had a lot better filtering than this has. That was kind of a disappointment here. So how would I rate this particular Baofeng? It's not going to be for everyday use. It's just sort of a niche type radio. I imagine in the future they'll come up with models that have a few adjustments made that'll make it more desirable. But for now, this is a project in development. I don't know if there'll be new firmware releases that come out that fix these problems or not, but we'll keep our eyes open on that. So for now, this particular Baofeng radio is pretty much a take it or leave it, but I do like some of the new features, and it is going in a promising direction. Well, there you have it. This is KBØTTL saying 7-3, and we'll catch you next time.